Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit for the first round of the 2013 Championship. In this week's programme we are concentrating on our club classes. Loads of different bikes, plenty of action to come.
Okay, thanks Joe. Once again, Duncan Vincent in the commentary box, joined by Dennis Hobbs, and we've got the visiting MT125s at Knockhill. Not often we get visitors here, but we've got the lovely little two-strokes, and they're going to give us a bit of an action-packed day. We've got Hopkins, Houston and Beaumont on the front row, but keep your eyes out for Jerry Lodge as well, who really is the daddy of MT125 racing in Britain, Dennis. He owns most of these bikes out here. And we've also got Robin Lamb, our local Scotsman, who we're expecting good things from Robin, Dennis.
Yeah, we're hoping Robin Lamb can be hopefully at the sharp end and obviously on the podium, keeping it real for all the local guys about.
So here we go, red lights, a damp track, and away they go, the little MT125s paddling away from the start line down towards C curves. Now, somebody's left on the line, but the tricky thing for these guys is they have one tyre for both conditions. So it's basically, let's see who can survive. The first lap and down straight away goes the race leader. He doesn't even get a corner, Dennis.
That was number 7, Simon Beaumont. You know, he was just unlucky there, just obviously too much front brake as he leaned in and just lost the front. Obviously very easily done on these bikes with a dry, wet mixture tyres that they have on.
Now we're all holding our breath as they come down through Butchers up to the tricky John O'Weir chicane. You want to be avoiding the curbs on this time, guys, as it says. Is it Houston that's leading the way? Sean Houston leading the way in the number 22 bike as they come up towards Clark Corner for the first time of asking. So unfortunately Beaumont did lead the race for a couple of 100 yards there, Dennis, and just tucked that front end. Very tricky conditions.
Yeah, obviously being the first guy in these kind of conditions was probably always the most awkward bit, because they've got to set the pace. They're not sure what to expect or how hard to push with these tyres, because it's been a fairly safe weekend.
Number 6 is on the floor. That's James Hinchcliffe as well, and he's a novice rider, unfortunately. That's at the exit of the John O'Weir chicane.
Yeah, that's on another one of the Earnshaw's bikes, so probably another one of Jerry Lodge's bikes. It's up the road there.
Well, what Jerry does is that the people that are a little bit heavier, he gives the water-cooled version, because the water-cooled just got maybe 3 brake horsepower more than the air-cooled version. But Robin Lamb, he seems to be on a 250. The speed that number 8 bike is going on the main street, he's got right ahead of him. He's got Stuart Cox in the 35 bike as Stuart goes through our screenshot. And I don't believe it, that's Richard Wilson on number 31, just ahead of him, tipping through the yellow bike, going through Scotsman just now.
Yeah, Jerry Lodge just at the mid-pack of this lot. You know, he's about 56th place at the moment, so he's trying to chase down Robin Lamb. But you're right in what you say, Robin Lamb's bike looks really quick in a straight line. He's just not got the confidence to push it hard on the brakes. It's a nice spray job, and I think you say he's got brand new leathers. He doesn't want to get them scuffed, obviously.
He's spent a few of his hard-earned pounds on a pair of Danesia leathers there. As you can see, Robin in 4th place, going in through Clark Corner with a green flag getting waved, so somebody else possibly on their ear at the John O'Weir chicane. But Houston from Wilson, from Cox as they head round towards the hairpin, and these little MT125s, it's first thing in the morning and they're doing a cracking effort. As you can see how tucked in they get in towards the hairpin, but up the inside comes Wilson, and Cox tries to go round it on 35 on both of them, and that's going to be a brave move if he can. And Houston riding for the RAF MSA is probably wondering what happened there.
It was like 3 into 1, looking over his shoulder there, and he's just going to get mugged there as Stuart Cox comes up over the start finish line to lead off yet another lap in the MT125.
So Jerry Lodge is not figuring in this race yet, but he did start from the back of the grid, so the gaffer, we should hopefully start seeing the number 4 bike coming through. Top of your screen now was Jerry Lodge, but it's Cox from Wilson as they go past 8 curves.
And just at the back of this, it looks like Harry Trulove is starting to make a little bit of progress and gain up towards the back of this leading bunch.
Oh, that's Harry Hazza, as he's known to the paddock, Harry Trulove. And there's 3 Truloves out there, but he's definitely my first Trulove just now as he makes his way down through Scotsman and Butchers. I'm sorry, Dennis, I had to get that out of the way nice and early over the crest of the John O'Weir chicane. And Cox is a brave man using the curb there.
Obviously quite keen to get the bike upright and obviously not applying the power as he goes up, but he's just about to get passed back up the inside as he goes in towards Clark's once more.
There's Richard Wilson.
Robin Lamb there sitting in 3rd place, so we've missed a bit of action there, but Robin Lamb now up into 3rd place, and hopefully you can keep it steady and get it onto the podium, and hopefully try and chase down your leading 2 at the moment, which is Wilson and Houston.
Bit of a battle at the front here then, so we're gonna see, is Robin Lamb incoming? Yes, he is. Can he do anything on the brakes? No, he can't, because such is Wilson and Cox's advantage on the brake. These guys riding the bikes maybe a little bit more than Robin Lamb, but they're quite brave. You can hear them slipping the clutch on the little MT125s mid-apex, obviously trying to get the bike up into the power band, but doing that on the apex of the damn track when you're still tilted over on your side, Dennis.
Especially on an older bike, a modern day bike, you know, the power delivery is nice and smooth right the way across, but on one of these things I'm sure it's going to be a sharp power band. Once it kicks in, it's only a small amount you're going to be using, and be quite twitchy.
Yeah, they've not got the greatest of power, around about 31 brake horsepower, but as you can see, we're getting a bit of a car park at Scotsman there, or a bike park I should say, somebody else. Oh, and down goes Richard Wilson, I don't believe it! Richard Wilson throws away the yellow bike, number 31, and he trudges away from that one. He could probably pick her up and walk her under his arm.
His visor flew off there, so I've not seen many people crash going into butchers like that as well. So just grabbed a bit of front brake, or just maybe rolled off too much.
Wonder if it maybe seized Dennis, but it did go down like a ton of bricks there, or as heavy as an MT is.
The good thing is that's put Robin Lamb, our local interest there, into second place now. He's trying to chase down the 35 machine now with Stuart Cox, so let's hope Robin Lamb can get the better of Stuart Cox and maybe chase down a victory.
Now you can see most of these bikes have got Earnshaw's motorcycles inside them. That's Jerry Lodge's his place of business. That's where most of these bikes are looked after, Earnshaw's motorcycles. They've been around for long enough, and Jerry Lodge comes from good racing pedigree. He's got a couple of nephews, James Lodge, who you'll be quite aware of, Dennis, for British Championship stuff. But these guys at the front just now making their way down through Leslie's turn 2 in towards turn 3. Any more bikes parking up there? No, just the 2, but the riders standing watching. And this is where Wilson decked it a lap ago as they go through the slippery butchers. There's a big compression at the bottom there, but Wilson dropped it quite early before that.
Yeah, it was just as he was turning towards the top of the apex, so like I say, quite a strange one, but looks like our man there, Robin Lamb, is trying to do his best to hold in towards the back of the 35 bike of Stuart Cox, and let's see if he can get a good slingshot out of Clark's heading down towards a hairpin. Then he might be able to do something towards the end of this race.
That would need to be one heck of a big slingshot this time, but we have seen Robin Lamb's bike then does look that little bit quicker at the top end of the straight. Having said that, Stuart Cox is absolutely dynamite on the brakes.
It's proper tucked in as well. There's a proper racer. Elbows are in, feet are in, head's tucked up behind the screen. As we look back towards the 22 bike there, Sean Houston.
Houston still running around now. Sean's in third place just now, and we said he was riding for the RAF MSA, one of our RAF workers. Normally he's working on Tornadoes during the week, but something a little bit different today, riding an MT125 at Knockhill Racing Circuit. And is that the last lap flag?
Yeah, last lap flag's out.
Robin Lamb has got the gap down. He's definitely made a charge towards the end of this race, but is he brave enough to stick it through then say that Cox is to go through first corner? Cox is committed there.
Yeah, he's committed, but also like I say, it's greasy, tricky conditions, Duncan. I'm pretty sure Robin Lamb will be happy with a podium, but we obviously want to see him win if he can. Not that we're too patriotic, and that's coming from a Yorkshireman there cheering on a Scotsman. You heard it here, guys. Never thought that would happen. Now Cox is over the curbs here, and he's done a good half a lap here as they exit the John O'Weir chicane up towards the Clark corner, past the John Young sign shelter there, and he has made a very good half lap, 3/4 lap. It's looking good for Stuart Cox. Robin Lamb's going to possibly need an earthquake if he's going to win this one as they head towards the Stuart Cox committed coming out of Clark's Duncan, wasn't he? He was out towards the white line, almost using the curbs as well, but I say, look, you can see how well he is. He's tucked in there, getting as much speed as he can down the straight, but Robin Lamb trying his hardest, but just going to get to his back wheel and no more. In towards the hairpin for the last time of asking. Cox gets it over towards the apex. Oh, and he's ever so brave slipping that clutch at the apex. Gets in the power band. Will he have a look back? No. Ever the professional keeps his head down and powers the little MT125 up towards the checker flag. So Stuart Cox wins the first race of the day here on the MT125 from our very own Robin Lamb, who comes home in second position. Very happy to see Robin on the podium, and also very happy to see Robin hasn't scuffed or broken in those new Denisi leathers, as many a man has in this first race. Up towards the flag, is that going to be our third place man? Just crossing the line just now, then gives a little wave. Yeah, Norman Beckett there, number 33, just crossing the line. So as the guys make their way around on their slow down lap, Stuart Cox on the number 35 Earnshaw's bike. Let's hand down to Joe Tanner in the pit lane. We'll give you a quick run through first. Cox from Lamb and Beckett, with Sean Houston 4th, Matthew Truelove and Christian Gunston 6th place. And that is your finishers, that's everybody. Let's hand down to Joe in the pit lane.
Robin Lamb, second place home in the MT125. Some tricky conditions though.
Yeah, I think the first lap, there's a few of the guys decided to throw it down on the scenery, which was kind of good. I thought it would, even though we had 2 laps of warm-up, I thought a third is required. So I think we lost about maybe 4, maybe 5 bikes on the first lap, which and they were all okay, so it was good for us.
Third place in the MT125's Norman Beckett. Great to see you guys at Knockhill, first of all.
Great to be here, even though the weather's a little bit indifferent. Caught quite a few out this morning, but yeah, it's a case of a safe ride to ensure you get home. So yeah,
a safe but successful ride, third position.
Yeah, very good. My first podium of the weekend and that. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
The winner, Stuart Cox in the MT 125s. First of all, great to see how many bikes are up here to compete in. Great to see you here at Knockhill, and a great result as well for the first race.
Yeah, it's great, and we really love coming to Knockhill, and the circuit and all the staff really look after us really well. So, thanks for letting us come, because it's great to be in the paddock with everybody.
What's it like tackling the circuit on one of these tiny little machines?
I think it's a great track for 125s. You're not flat out too long. You get into top gear, and your gearing's about right, so it's perfect.
So away we go for the next race, and you can see complete change of conditions now, Dennis. We've got a bone dry track, and Robin Lamb gets the whole shot down towards straight curves, with Sean Houston and Stuart Cox fighting out hard for that second place. Yeah,
the wind's up at the moment, Duncan. The sun's out and the track has dried out pretty rapid, and completely transformation in terms of the wet race to the dry race that we have now. But also starting to come through the field already there. Number 4, Jay Lodge, he's having a few teething problems with his bike. It's not running correct as he wants to at the moment.
No, it was over-fueling, wasn't it? It was oiling up the plug, as we heard throughout the course of it. But Cox, look how good he was on the brakes. He passes Lamb in towards it, curves it. Does he run him pretty hot? Yes, is the answer. Does he get through the bottom? Yes, and he makes it another win. Stuart Cox wins from Robin Lamb on the road. Now another change of conditions. We're back with a wet race this time as they come down towards straight curves, and Robin Lamb and Stuart Cox, these guys have been the class off the field today, and everybody this time decides to make it through. Thankfully we have no kamikaze entrances from Simon Beaumont in this race.
Yeah, everything's all ginger at the moment. Looks like Robin Lamb's looking up the inside, but the number 35 bike right round the outside again.
Another MT 125 race comes to an end there, and it's fast and furious action here at the Knockhill Motor Sports Club. Join us after the break.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keane in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
So the green flag waves at the back of the grid, and we are about to go racing for the 400s and mini twins and classics with the lightweights, and everything is down towards first corner. And who's that man at the front? It's Gavin Donald, Den. What a great start by Donald.
Yeah, Gavin Donald on the lime green spray job bike there, looking absolutely fantastic. This competition's got to be Lee Teasdale out there. Duncan Lee Teasdale, we've seen him in other classes. He's mixed it up this weekend. He's riding 2 classes. It's going to keep him sharp across the board.
Lee Teasdale is riding a VK Soup mini twin bike. Gavin Donald out front on the super twin. The Gavin's got a bit more tuning on his bike, but he is riding it so well as he comes through the hairpin and accelerates up towards a checker flag. Gavin Donald, great to see him back on winning ways, and a big smile for the man under that 81 helmet there. Moving on again, you can see just how windy, Dennis. The wind is up here. It's up. We can hear it outside our commentary box as well. Donald from Teasdale and the slow starting Tom Robinson on the front of the grid. Can Tom in 55 get a good launch down towards straight curves? There is Richard Wilson, who we saw deck the little MT125 on the yellow 400 this time. Green flag, Den.
Yeah, we've got all the starters orders once more, but Gavin Donald's going to get a nice clean getaway, and he does it at the front. Looks like Tom Robinson's doing his usual sluggish start. He just needs to try and improve that. Tom Robinson not the best of starters. He's already scrolled up into the mid-pack, and I think the leading 400 there is going to be the 21 bike of Grant Reid. Yeah,
great start by Grant Reid. He'll be extremely happy with that. Unfortunately, we lost Kai Johnson earlier on when he had a blow up in qualifying. It was all about Kai last year, all about Kai in the 125s, and very unfortunate that Kai lost an engine and lost basically his race weekend in qualifying. But there's Lee Teasdale on the number 78 VK. It's a Chinese replica of the mini twin.
It's actually it's a factory looking bike. The exhaust, all the bits on it, absolutely mint. You know, it's a beautiful looking machine.
And he's doubling up, isn't he? Because he is doing the P-injected. Sorry to talk over there, Den.
Yeah, no, he's doing the pre-injection 600. That's keeping him sharp, and he's carrying more speed than any of the other guys through the top of seat curve all the way towards Clark's, but he just hasn't got that straight line speed he requires.
And now look at that orange bike mid-pack. We've got Tarran Mackenzie on the little KTM, the proper Moto3 bike. There's Taz there, up from down south. He's doing a quick meeting on a Sunday.
Yeah, he just came up for one day, just went on the outside of Mark Borum. One of the guys there on the 400s is coming back over the line.
Tom Robinson way down behind Graham Bodell, one of our new novices on the number 33 bike there. So Tom Robinson way out of position as we see Taz Mackenzie on the beautiful little Moto3 bike going round the outside and in towards Scotsman. What a good manoeuvre that was.
Yeah, it was nice and clean right up the inside. And we expect Taz to come through the field. Unfortunately, he wasn't here yesterday, so he has to start at the back of the grid for the first two races of the day because we've got a normal championship, the Scottish Championship, so he has to start at the back of the lap. But where he finishes in the second race, he'll be able to start from in the third race.
So as he come through Clark Corner, Richard Wilson is about to be the next man who goes under the cosh of a Grand Prix machine as they head round towards Hairpin. Dennis, you're pointing.
Yeah, just also, this is Taz as well, fresh back from the Circuit of Americas out there in America, where he was second up until the last lap when he unfortunately crashed out of contention.
Yeah, for the Red Bull rookies, so unfortunate for Taz, but great to have him here. And the club president, Niall Mackenzie, who is a former Grand Prix legend himself, is in attendance today. But there goes Grant Reid, Taz Mackenzie, and that'll be him up to fourth place on the road now from starting flat last.
He's doing a good job, he's carrying loads of corner speed, and he's actually swallowing up loads of time against these boys. You can see a couple of guys there on the orange vest there riding around together. We've got Mark Boren and Graham Bodell. It's good to see the guys there, new racers to the Knockhill Motor Sports Club, and doing a great job.
Tom Robinson up the inside there, good move. Tom almost tucked out in the front on the brakes there, but he manages to get through Scotsman. And if Tom Robinson could just get a good few starts, he would be up at the front, and he'd be probably ahead of Richard Wilson, who's one of our visitors at this weekend.
It was obviously good to see him up off the ground after crashing that MT125 there. He took looked like a heavy knock as well and lost the visor off his helmet, but seems to be all back together now.
He did take a little bit of a trunce away, didn't he? Didn't look too happy in the gravel trap, kicking bits. But there's Mark Boren just going through with Graham Bodell on his tail. These guys both in the mini twins on SV650s, as you see, two 400s ahead of them in towards the airpin, two 400 Yamahas. But it's all situations just fine just now. You can see them as they come through the hairpin and click off another lap up the main street. A good crowd in the house today as well, Dennis.
Yeah, it's great to see such a great number of people out here at the moment. As you see, the number 21 bike there, Grant Reid, under increasing pressure now from young Taz Mackenzie on that Moto3 bike. Probably the most expensive, best looking bike here today.
Yeah, he was telling me earlier on it's got launch control on it just in case it flips and powers up in the line, but proper little bit of kit. But he's also got support from Taylor, and this is a proper racing family, the Mackenzie dynasty, isn't it?
It is indeed. We've got a great bunch of people around, and we've even got top racers looking after the bike there. Got Jeremy Goodall, one of the guys I used to race with back in Superbikes and Supersport, one of the top runners on 250 bikes in British Championship. He's the guy that's spanning and looking after young Taz and bringing him along.
So in towards the hairpin, Tom Robinson ahead of Richard Wilson now. Tom in the 55 has got past the yellow 31 of Richard Wilson, and Tom, well, that's where he should have been at the start, buddy. But it's just been a bit of a hard weekend. He's had mechanical issues all through Friday testing, and the first couple of races on Saturday. So it's not good for Tom Robinson.
Yeah, a few ignition and fueling problems, I believe, over the course of the weekend as we switch back towards the leader there, Gavin Donald, through the John Howey chicane.
And he's just gone past Natasha Moss there on the little 73 VFR 400 there. I'll get that in because it's one of my favourite bikes. As a move further down, that's Davy McNairn, and he's gone past Mark Boren on the 400. So Davy McNairn is making up ground through the pack. Now another man who should be further up the front of the pack, we should say, as into the pits comes... that was difficult to see that, Dennis.
Yeah, we'll probably pass on that one, but we'll switch back towards David McNairn again, just ahead of Mark Bowen as these guys head up towards Clark's in the distance.
I believe that was Simon Woodward on his 400 there, 400 Suzuki, but through the hairpin, Tom Robinson has got past Grant Reid now. So it was an RD400 Yamaha for Simon Woodward as he's retired there, and Grant Reid has a big long look over his shoulder.
I wonder if he was looking over his shoulder to think if he had a nice little bit of a breather, if he's starting to get tired towards the end of this 10 lapper.
Thinking, where did you come from? You shouldn't be up here, you made such a bad start.
To be fair, Tom Robinson does make it interesting and exciting for us guys, because he is the quickest on the 400s. He's had so much bad luck. He's been the runner up the last 2 years, but unfortunately just can't seem to get the bike off the line. But once he's up and running, the speed he carries is phenomenal.
Meanwhile, first on the road and first in the mini twin class, Gavin Donald comes through the top of St Curves from a raised vantage point on the camera catch fencing here. Gav Donald on the number 81 bike. Last year he was in the Superstock 600, and this year, well, he didn't have a very good year last year by his own admittance. The bike stopped quite a lot, he didn't get on with it, but back on a mini twin from where he graduated, and look how he's going. This is a Super Twin he's got. It's had a bit of tuning done to it, but Gavin Donald really is a bit of a class act, and it's nice to see him when he's got his helmet off. He's always got a big grin on his face then.
He's a cool, calm character, isn't he, you know? And this is definitely giving the confidence back. He said he was knocked a fair bit last year, not getting the results he expected, and switching back to the mini twin is definitely doing a great job, and he's looking confident and smooth out there at the moment.
So through the hairpin you can hear that beautiful SV650 accelerating hard up the main straight, up towards the last lap flag now for Gavin Donald. So 1.3 miles of Knockhill's international race circuit for Gavin Donald, and he's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, Dennis, but I don't think it's what might come into play.
Yeah, he's chasing down the 118 machine of Rod Walker there at the moment, so I don't think he's got too much of a lead over Lee Teasdale to probably worry about anything at all. He'll know that himself. He's had a cheeky look over his shoulder a couple of times, so he knows he's got a big, safe, comfortable lead. He's just going to take it around nice and steady for the rest of this lap.
Gavin Donald is the fastest man on the circuit as well. He's also got the fastest race lap in this race.
It would be interesting to see how we'd be getting on if young Paul McClung was out there, because Paul McClung last year on the mini twin and the super twin was absolutely incredible. There was no competition for him whatsoever. He's moved on to the Superstock classes for this year, and it'd be interesting to see how he gets on, but we do miss him in the mini twin class as well.
So he goes up the inside of Rod Walker on the number 118 bike, and that's Gavin Donald coming round to take the checkered flag. He didn't need to do that, but he's in a rhythm, Dennis, so it's easier to do that as he accelerates up towards the checkered flag. It's a win for Gavin Donald on the road and in the mini twins outright. The super twin comes home, and Mark Boren just misses going a lap down. We see him pitching in through the top of safety cars, but Donald wins, and he'll be happy with that one on the number 81 SV650 super twin bike. Round for a slow down lap, Dennis. Big smile, you can almost see it from here.
Yeah, he's not giving everybody a cheeky wave just yet, is he?
Up the back straight he comes, arm off, and there he goes. Finally listens to Uncle Dennis and gives a little wave. So Gavin Donald from Tarran Mackenzie got himself at the second place, with Lee Teasdale, Tom Robinson, Grant Reid, Tom being the first 400, Richard Wilson, Dougie Brown and Davy McNairn home in 8th position.
Gavin, yet another win. A little bit of pressure for the Moto3 bike though.
Yeah, wee Tarran's quick. He was catching me. I think the last race he might, we might get a good race anyway, we'll see. But enjoyed that one, yeah, that was good.
Lee, yet another win. Like I said before, the last time I spoke to you, we speak to you more than anybody else. Yeah. Racing in 2 classes. It was a 3rd place this time, which potentially is a little bit disappointing for you with the results you've had all weekend.
Tarran's flying, man. Came past us, he's riding, well, he's rapid, isn't he? But no, I'm happy with a 3rd.
Tarran, a familiar face here at Knockhill. I think I remember you winning your first race here a couple years ago, and now look at you, a big gun in the British Championship, winning races. Turn up here with the Moto3 bike and show the adults how to go.
Yeah, it was a fantastic meeting here at Knockhill again, and had to start, because I didn't ride yesterday, I had to start from the back of the grid on this one, so I was fairly happy with getting to 2nd, and then just proving my setting for the BSB on the 16th of June, so yeah.
Is that really what it is for you, a kind of test to have a look and just remind yourself of the circuit and obviously the new bike as well?
Yeah, pretty much. Like in that race it was a bit too soft on the front, so the next race we can go a bit harder and see if it's better or worse.
So we're under starters orders again for this race, and still lovely conditions here, Dennis. Now can Mackenzie make the whole shot? Watch the launch control work on the little bike in the middle of the row, middle of the front row. Now Tom Robinson, what are you doing? It's another disaster for Uncle Tom as he heads down, and Graham Bodell's in the pit exit there on the number 33 bike, but no, it's number 81 Donald that tipped in first towards safe curves, followed by Mackenzie on the Moto3 KTM. And the rest of the guys all making their way through. It looks like Teasdale was in 2nd place as the shot out of Scotsman down towards the John O'Brien chicane.
Yeah, we're just looking back now, the 21 machine of Grant Reid heading through down in towards the bottom of Scotsman corner, chased down by number 31 there, Richard Wilson, like you say, riding the MT125 and the Formula 400, so doing a good job. And I think is that Dougie Brown in the middle.
Yeah, Dougie Brown there right in the middle, and these guys were all featuring quite in a fierce 400 battle yesterday. And Wilson up the back straight, tucked right in behind the fairing there of that little 400 Yamaha.
Pretty defensive there, going in towards Clark's corner. There was our 21 machine at Grant Reid, but they're trying to chase down Tom Robinson, who's away with this one as we look back towards Tarran Mackenzie.
Tarran Mackenzie accelerates out off the hairpin, up the main straight on that beautiful little Moto3 bike there to take a well-deserved checker flag and win on the road. So Tarran Mackenzie does get a good win on the little Moto3 KTM, and he'll be happy. He's come up to Scotland and he's won from Gavin Donald in 2nd place, and Lee Teasdale comes home on his VK bike, his VK 650, Chinese replica of the SV, and he comes home in 3rd position. But there's your winner And let's hope, well, he hopes on the 16th of June he'll be doing that at the BSB when they roll back into town. Tarran Mackenzie takes the applause.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new GoRacingTV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So here we are now with the Knockhill Motor Sports Club's Formula 125 class. We've got a mixture of bikes out there. We've got a Grand Prix 125 machine ridden by Paul McCartney. We've got the Formula 125 machines. Also a GP80 bike by young Rory Skinner, only 11 years old, Duncan, and a fantastic prospect for the future. And we've also got two guys up on Kawasaki Ninja 250s, and that is a machine of Callum Grieger and Max Alexander.
Yeah, McCartney, Grieger and Skinner are at the front of the grid with McGaw, Robertson and Page on the second row of the grid. Now let's get these guys underway on a slightly patchy track here at Knockhill. Grey skies, and we just get, is that Callum Grieger getting put in position, but Paul McCartney is on the front row of the grid. He has a look over the pit wall, now needs to look up towards the bridge lights on the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, and here we go, red rise, on come the red lights, nice big glow off the pit wall, and away goes Callum Grieger. So it was Max Alexander who was starting further down the pack. Callum Grieger got an absolute rocket ship start there as they head down towards St Curves for the first time of asking any leads, Dennis.
Yeah, almost like McCartney got caught with his pants on there, wasn't ready to go when the lights went out, but young Rory Skinner on that GP80 looking impressive. But look at Max Alexander, the speed he carried through the bottom of Leslie's there in towards Scotsman Corner. He's already from the back up to third place. Obviously you can see his competition and Callum Grieger ahead of him. Bear in mind these kids are only like 14, 15 years old on these Kawasaki Ninjas, and they're doing a great job.
I've got to say, the last time I saw Max Alexander at Knockhill, he was wobbling around the back of the field in an RS125 Honda, and he must be the biggest improvement I have seen in bike racing in absolutely years, as he heads round now towards, through Hislops towards the hairpin for the first time of asking. The conditions look like they're starting to close in on us a bit here.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to rain just that little bit, Duncan. It's been spitting in the air, but Callum Grieger leading the way, and to be fair, he's the first man on the road. He's got to set the pace, so obviously if you see the rain you've got to kind of adjust your speed and suit, because you don't want to be the first man to go down the road, because it's easy for people to follow you.
Up towards, clicking off the first lap goes Callum Grieger with Max Alexander in second, and there's rain falling on that camera lens now as we come down towards St Curves. They're going to have to be a little bit careful here as Grieger tips it in for the first time basket up, and there Grieger's down, he's going down. We heard that in the background there, the bike goes down, and so does Alexander. Max Alexander almost skittles Callum Grieger in the gravel trap there as both bikes are down. Grieger stands looking at it, but very unfortunate for those young men. We could hear him crashing in the background, and somebody else goes down. Who's that? Is that young Tommy Page as well? So Paul McCartney was the only one who's made it through that melee.
It was a bit of carnage there, and obviously two of the Ninjas both down, and one of the other people towards the back. I think that might have been young Lewis Patterson.
Yep, red flag. Jamie Revels there on the radio at the hairpin with waving the red flag, and yep, there you go. Emotions run high as there's gravel getting kicked and stomped at St Curves there. But that was a bit of a drama there. Look how quickly the conditions have changed now though. We've had that shower, you can see it passing in the distance there behind the bridge, and now the beautiful sunshine is coming up the valley from Stirling as we get this race starting again. Yeah, we just look towards the inside there. Young Rory Skinner, that GP80 bike, absolutely gets a rocket off the line there, Duncan, gets a mega start, and he's already leading as head down towards the top of St Curve for the first time. A GP80 leading the 125 bike and the Formula 125 is quite impressive so far. Now, apart from being a special case having pretty cool hair, Rory Skinner is a very special rider in Scotland, Dennis. Yeah, for sure. You know, he's a young lad. He's only 11 years old. He's on an 80cc machine, Duncan, so it's a bike with not a lot of power. So he's actually eligible for the Formula 125 class, similar to the Super Teens, but he's trying to, was being chased down by Gilfillan and McGaw, and we expect McCartney to probably pass young Rory Skinner down the back straight with the extra horsepower of a GP bike. Mike Skinner, his dad used to race, and a very quick racer. I've raced against Mike myself, or I've been in the same races. I mean, he was always miles ahead of me. But yeah, great to see the next generation coming on, and Rory Skinner still leading the way, Dennis. He's led this entire lap, and finally the RS125 of McCartney comes round and passes him on the straight line speed. Now can Skinner get back on the brakes? It's still a little bit patchy in there. McGaw homes in on the number 5 purple bike as well. Jelly McGaw looking pretty racy. Yeah, it looks like McCartney was a bit sluggish coming out the hairpin there, ran a little bit wide, probably on the throttle there, a little bit too early, but it's his first unit to the circuit, so doing a good job in terms of picking it up. Rory Skinner chasing him down, and Jill McGaw there doing a great job. Her competition really has to be young Rory Skinner. You know, the lap times are probably 2-3 seconds off what the Formula 125 should be doing, so they've got to find a little bit of speed. Paul McCartney has come over from Ireland, like Luke Johnson we saw in the previous Superstock 600 series, and it's great that they've come over. McCartney's really thinking about if he can get lap times quick enough. He's thinking about coming back and having a crack at the British Championship, but he's set himself a target, and that British Championship is pretty hot.
Yeah, the guys are all fast there. You know, once you get to the British Championship stuff, you know, you can win club stuff, you can win national stuff. When you get to the British Championship, that's where everybody, you know, that's where all the top guys are. So it's never going to be easy. It's Julie McGaw there looking at the back of young Rory Skinner.
Yep, she's still trying to get past that little ATCC bike, and she's tucked right in now. Rory is absolutely tiny, so he will be pretty quick in a straight line. Even though that bike is ATCC, you can see he is an absolute tiny little guy. And Gillian McGaw is looking at the brakes at the hairpin. Good move, Gillian McGaw up the inside, passes Rory Skinner. Nice, clean, good bit of overtaking there, and there is hope for the future.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit nervous for these people. It's all overtaken on damp patches, Duncan, so you're not going to have the most of grips for the actual racing line looks dry. There's a few damp patches in places, so making it quite tricky. And young Rory Skinner there, he's got no weight to him, Duncan. He's actually run on wet tyres in the dry and in the wet or damp, regardless.
Try and generate some heat in those tyres, because he was saying that the other ones won't possibly move about and generate the heat.
Yeah, well, we've had a look at the bike as well after he's finished the race, and there's no wear on the tyre whatsoever, even with a wet. You know, he's still got the full tread there, he's still got loads of grip. So whatever he's doing, it's obviously doing the job right. His dad Mike's obviously got that bike set up absolutely perfect for the young lad. He's doing a great job, but Julie McGaw there trying her hardest to try and stick in.
Yeah, if that was me and you on that bike, we went with our tyres right now, there'd be absolutely nothing left of them whatsoever.
It would be going half the speed it's going now.
It probably wouldn't move. So he comes through Clark Corner, Rory Skinner on his way towards the hip, and you can still see there is some quite large damp patches. Now, who's this homing in at the back of them as well?
I think that's Ashley Robertson.
Ashley Robertson shown well as well in the Formula 125 class as we come in towards the hairpin. Skinner on the brakes. McGaw, so brave as Gillian McGaw on the brakes. She catches up from quite a distance here and gets through the corner. The lovely Scottish knee sliders adorning the side of her leathers there. But at the front it is Paul McCartney, who's now stretching his legs away from Rory Skinner. And you can hear the little 125s and 80 go past. Now the wind's going to play a big effect on these bikes as well, Dennis, because they're so light.
Yeah, for sure. Depending on which way it's actually hitting them at the moment. Duncan's either going to be pushing up the start-finish straight or pushing them down towards the hairpin. So it'll make a big difference in terms of the gain. If they're having a headwind, they might have to change it slightly, put a bit of a higher sprocket on so they can drive harder in towards the wind.
Out of Scotsman they come down towards Butchers, and then the John Irway chicane. I'll let Dennis do the technical stuff, it's better that way.
Yeah, young Rory Skinner and Julie McGaw, they're actually avoiding the curbs going in and probably just a little bit on the exit, and that's costing them time. You know, they could probably gain an extra second through the chicane if you use all that blue and white curb on the left as they go in, carry the momentum through and keep it up. So maybe there's room for improvement for these guys who can watch the programme, maybe just look at where the quicker guys are going once they get into the Superbike programmes, even the front guys in the Superstock 600 category.
Or they could always just come and ask you, come and speak to you in the commentary box after races. But it's still Skinner leading the Formula 125 race from McGaw, and Robson in third position. I thought Ash was making a bit of an inroad, but it looks like the halt was kind of stopped.
Yeah, and young McCartney on that GP125 bike, he's absolutely away with it at the moment. He's pulled a massive gap on the rest of the guys. There's a look back towards young Rory Skinner, heading in towards the top off-seat curve, and just nice and smooth, you know, taking his time, learned the circuit pretty well.
I was trying to say the charges halted for Ashley Robertson and completely fell apart. And there's young Bethany Polanski now. We're talking about people improving. Come on, Bethany Polanski this time last year was getting black flagged after 2 laps, Dennis, purely because she wasn't quick enough on race pace, and now she's managing a whole race and she's in there battling as well.
Yeah, a bit of competition with young Tommy Page, I think that was there.
So good to see that happening for Bethany Polanski. Up the back straight though is Rory Skinner leading the way, and he's starting to stretch away from Gillian McGaw now on this little 80cc Formula 125. Round towards the hairpin, McGaw in second place, and still Robson in third place. He's drifting back that little bit now is Gillian McGaw.
Yeah, for sure. Gillian just struggling to hold on to the wheel tracks of young Rory Skinner. Rory's lap times are consistent lap after lap after lap. You know, he's keeping a consistent pace where there seems to be a few mistakes happening from Gillian McGaw. She's doing a nice, good, quick lap, then a couple of seconds off. But these guys ultimately are still 2 to 3 seconds off the fastest lap time of the Formula 125 class.
Another lap clicked off as we go over the crest of the hill here. And remember, Paul McCartney still leading the way on the RS 125, and towards St Curves comes young Rory Skinner, and he's followed by Gillian McGaw. And these guys, remember, very young, but further back down. Oh, very close. Polanski trying to go around the outside there, and that was Liam Shipley, and that was getting rather close on the brakes here.
Yeah, for sure, but Bethany Plansky looks like she's got a good exit up onto the start-finish straight there, and she's in the wheel tracks. It's a shame that we haven't got to the likes of young Max Alexander and Callum Grieger. They threw it up the road at the top of Seated Curve there, and it'd be great to see them out racing, because these guys are really close together in terms of lap times, and they provide some fantastic close racing, plenty of swapping positions.
Bit of a mistake from Rory Skinner there, but totally agree with that. Callum Grieger and Max Alexander separated by hundredths of a second in qualifying, absolutely glued together, and they would have been the class act of this field, but unfortunately caught in with tricky conditions, and both went down the road quite quickly at Seated Curves. If you're going to fall off, it's a fast place to go missing, but Paul McCartney takes the checker flag, and he will be a happy man with that one. He'll be straight back in, and the first thing he'll be doing is looking for lap times to find out how we got on. Second place in the road, we're going to see Rory Skinner coming through, and he wins the Formula 125 class outright anyway. So taking home the John Young Signs Knockhill Motor Sports Club trophies is Paul McCartney, with Rory Skinner and Gillian McGaw on the podium, with Ash Robson, Lewis Patterson, son of Torquil, Liam Shipperley and Bethany Polanski in 7th place.
Gillian, 3rd place home, but 2nd place in class. A good result, but wee Rory's going quite quickly, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got more straight line speed, and I could catch him on the brakes, but it was a really good race.
What about the weather conditions? Rory was saying it's really windy. You can feel the bike being thrown around by the wind. Did it give you any problems?
No, not really.
Good stuff. There you go. So you'll be able to beat him in the next one.
Yeah, hopefully we'll try.
Well done.
Thanks.
And the winner, 2nd home on the road behind the GP125, but still the winner in class, and 11 years old, which has got to be some kind of record. Rory Skinner, well done.
Thanks.
Weather conditions not the easiest. It wasn't really the wet that was the problem. It was more the wind, wasn't it?
Yeah. The wet, it wasn't that wet on the track, but the wind just makes it really hard to stay in the bike.
So you're constantly just trying to keep it upright?
Yeah, really.
And the winner, Paul, overall winner on the road, 1st in class as well. You've only got the Formula 125s to play with. How's the wind for you out there?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. The track's dump patches everywhere, but it's starting to dry out. Hopefully by the second race we'll run slicks and it'll get a wee bit better, and hopefully the two boys in the Kawasaki are alright. We've had a bad accident in the first corner, so I'm sort of by myself. Like, I'd like to have a bit more of a race, so but I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Is this testing for you?
Yeah, this is testing. We come over on Friday evening. We're out on Friday and out yet. 1-2 races yesterday, and then this one today. We're just over here for a bit of track time, so and like the tracks over here are far better than the tracks at home.
So on the podium we see Paul McCartney with young Rory Skinner and Gillian McGaw taking away their trophies. Join us after the break.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keane in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
So here we go, we're getting the bikes lined up on the grid, and it is the pre-injected 600 guys, and everybody getting themselves lined up. Good weather conditions, although there's still a few damp patches. Generally, Dennis, the track's dry.
Yeah, for sure, pretty much everybody's got the full dry tyres on out there. Lee Teasdale, the man there on the 78 bike, he's up against Matthew Polanski and Des Burns there. That's your front row at the moment, and I'm expecting Polanski from last year's performances off the line. He was mega, so let's see if he can try and keep that up and get the whole shot in this one.
Got to look out for the champ Bauer Bank as well, who's mid-pack, and the lights go out and down towards Seated Curves we go. And Lee Teasdale has been battling problems all weekend with that bike, but we're on board with the Autovox Yamaha, and it's Des Burns. What a glorious view of Des's rear there.
I'd say he's positioned that sticker in a good place, hasn't he? That's a good shot.
As they go through the top of Seated Curves now, Leslie's in towards turn 3, which is Scotsman. It's Polanski with the whole shot, and you would expect that Matt Polanski is a great demon starter, and he's ahead of Lee Teasdale, who has been incredibly quick on his mini twin, and unfortunately for these guys, a pre-injected bike. We've also got Patrick Foreman up there running well. Paul Burbank towards the back of the field, Dennis. What is going on?
Yeah, Burbank's struggling a little bit this weekend. He was up doing a test day not so long back, Duncan. I was down at the bottom of Scotsman Corner, and he tumbled in towards the gravel trap and caused a fair bit of damage as we go back towards Des Burns.
Unfortunately, we don't have a gyro cam yet looking at the back of Des Burns' back there, but you can see the bike tipping in there, and one thing for sure, Des looks quite stylish. Those Arlen Ness leathers are pretty clean, considering Des been racing hard. He doesn't go down the road very often, touch wood. We've got Chris Clements in the number 6 bike up there as well. Chris Clements, another guy who's going extremely well, just in 4th place ahead of Patrick Foreman. And who's that? Isn't it Alan Rennie just behind Patrick Foreman? Many chance was it? As they come in towards St Curves, we'll pick a visual up on that in a minute, and it'd be great if it was Alan Rennie.
Alan Rennie coming back after a torrid season last year, Duncan. He didn't actually manage to make a race, did he? And he's over the moon to be back out there racing. So obviously the Alan Rennie Wine Club has been put into retirement and he's back out racing.
Well, it has until Sunday night, then the Wine Club will be in full flow and function. But up towards Clark's, you can see Polanski not defending at all from Teasdale. Teasdale kind of thought half about going through, but didn't. Oh, look at that, Clements and Foreman now together as they come through. Clark in 4th place.
I like the riding style of Patrick Foreman. He is fully committed. He wants 110% on that throttle all the time.
Oh, it terrifies me. Even speaking to him in the paddock terrifies me as Teasdale tries to go round the outside of Polanski, but not to be. Polanski finds him off and accelerates up the straight. These pre-injected 600 guys, they've raced really hard, but they also party pretty hard as well after the race been done.
I tell you what, we are missing Paul Burbank towards the sharp end. We never saw a race last year where he wasn't there.
Teasdale leads as they go through St Curves. Good move by Teasdale. Now can Polanski come back through turn 2 Leslie's, but no, it's not to be. So Lee Teasdale, the visitor, has come. He's conquered, hasn't he? He's got to the front, he put it on pole, and he's now leading this race as he picks it up over the damp patch down at Butchers. The number 78 Yamaha Ambler Engineering Developments on the side of it there. That's Chris Ambler and the family Ian Ambler there. Good race family that actually.
Yeah, for sure, but I think Teasdale at the moment, he's probably going to have the added advantage of riding the mini twin as well, Duncan, because that's going to give him a bit more track knowledge. He knows what the conditions probably like a little bit better than the other guys jumping from one bike to the other. And to be fair, jumping on the pre-injection 600 is going to feel like a superbike compared to that little mini twin he's been riding.
And Deadly Des is still hanging about in 3rd place there. Look at him hanging off the side of that Swan replica Yamaha with tuck on board with Des Burns up the main straight now. This is a great camera view as we come underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, on the brakes at the end of that little line that comes out there, tips it in and gets past the apex. Cracking onboard footage. You see him working it back over to the left, drives it hard through the left there and gets it down the brakes, down a gear with his left leg there. Then I'm giving a great commentary, but this is your bit.
No, for sure, he's doing a great job. I would say, what do you reckon, 145, 150 mile an hour, maybe he's over the top?
About that when he's pre-injected, yeah. If they're wound up coming at the hairpin properly, as you see, he picks it up there. He's actually picking the thing up onto the fat part of the tyre and hanging off the side of it like I'm going to say Mark Marquez here, and Des is going to love me for saying that he's got the same style as Marquez.
Especially when the elbow's down.
Yeah, round towards the hairpin. The only time Des Burns gets his elbows down is when the bike's usually leaping through the gravel trap, but they come towards the hairpin. Great onboard footage here, a fantastic flying lap on Knockhill with Des Burns. As we come in towards the hairpin here, you can see Polanski's just ahead with Teasdale right in front of him, and they're just out of Des Burns' grasp, aren't they?
Yeah, I know I've been speaking to Des, and this isn't his favourite bike he's on at the moment. This bike's lacking a little bit of horsepower, and you can actually see that. He's actually quicker from the top of C curve towards Clark's. He's faster than Teasdale, he's faster than Polanski, specifically through the John Howie chicane Butcher section of the circuit. He's absolutely rapid through there, but just hasn't got the straight line speed that he requires to be in front of these guys. And if the bikes are all equal, I'm pretty sure Des Burns will be at the front fighting for wins.
Well, I absolutely loved that onboard lap with Des Burns here. That gave us a cracking view of not only Des Burns but just how to ride a bike around Knockhill. But it's still Lee Teasdale who leads as they come up. Who's that, Dennis? Number 31 or is it 90 or 31?
That's 31, yeah. Alan Brody that's gone down there, one of the novice riders, so unfortunately a little bit of a mishap from him.
Shame for Alan, he was running very well in 7th or 8th position there as well. As the marshals on hand, look at these guys, perfect. The Orange Army getting on to the side of the track to move the bike away there. As we come out of the hairpin up the main straight now, it's still Teasdale leading the way.
Yeah, just watching this, the yellow flags out there as they come up over the top of the start-finish line.
In towards St Curves with the waved yellow flags. We're moving Alan Brody's bike out of the way. Sponsors in the bag racing.
Maybe it's not in the bag this time.
Yeah, maybe in the back of the van maybe, but through the marshal's done a good job. We've cleared that on the way in towards Scotsman Corner. So it's still Teasdale, Polanski and Burns, and it's spaced out a little bit at the front now, Den.
Yeah, I was almost going to say, I think Des Burns is getting in a little bit on the back of Polanski. It's hard to say, it's to and fro at the moment, but I think Des Burns is just starting to close that gap in very slowly.
Is the weather starting to roll in on us? Is that how Alan Brodie tipped off? Because you can still feel the wind against the side of our commentary box just now, then you can actually almost hear it rattling the window sometimes. But in 4th position we've still got Patrick Foreman on his own. You see him just coming into view at the top of the screen there, everybody's lovable friend from up north. And the embarrassing feat of putting the brake pads in the wrong way round in the bike last year. I wonder why he didn't stop at the hairpin.
The old Dorman racing team there, the guys, to be fair, the pre-injected guys, I think, Duncan, you have to say, out of all the paddock, these are the guys that are the friendliest bunch that have a lot of character, and you can see the rain on the cameras there.
Yeah, sprinkles on the camera lens, the mental rain, as you like to call it, Dan, and it is mental rain, but you can see the pace looks like it's knocked off a bit now for Lee Teasdale as they come through there.
Yeah, he's the guy that's setting the pace at the front, Duncan. If you do see a little bit of rain, you've got to kind of slow it down and set the pace. We see the number 75 bike of Harry Puller just went through out of shot.
Harry Puller, another man who's graduated up from the mini twin class from last year, and great to see Harry Puller onto pre-injected 600, making a step rather than going super stock straight away. He's decided just to get in there with the pre-injected guys. Now the bikes you're seeing here, the red plates and yellow numbers, these are the guys that didn't qualify for the Superstock 600 grid. Such was the size, it was oversubscribed, so the guys, the 6 slowest guys tagged into the back of this race, and they're getting a good race off the back of the grid here with the pre-injected 600 as Dennis jumps up from the commentary box seat there and has something to say.
Yeah, Robert Croft there's a guy we're actually following at the moment, the number 67 bike, but he's nowhere near the sharp end of this one.
In towards the hairpin, good bit of TV time for Robert Croft as he comes through here, and you can see the orange vest still showing that he is a first year rider, and there's been about 40 or 50 new riders into Scotland this year, Dan, which is great for the motorcycle sport. 40 or 50 guys in for the first year of racing.
No, for sure, it's definitely healthy, but at the sharp end we still have got Lee Teasdale there leading the way. Polanski and Des Burns seem to be closing up in the background.
These guys just tipping it over the top of St Curves and getting through Leslie's. We would love to catch back up with Teasdale at the front if we could. That's James Turner there on the GSXR 600. But we'd love to pick back up with Teasdale as we watch these guys come through the John Arweir chicane and head up the back straight towards Clark Corner.
Yeah, you want to see more of that gyro cam on the back of Des Burns with the Autovox logo on the back there, perfectly placed.
Well, I don't want to see Des Burns' his bum, but I do want to see that camera because it was giving us some great footage. But he's Teasdale. Teasdale is in amongst the back markers now, and Teasdale is on his way, stretched a nice healthy gap as he comes up there instead across that. Ooh, that little crooked damp patch just in the way towards the corner there. But he picks it up, possibly just released the brake a little bit on top of that then, just to be safe rather than sorry. And there's our last lap flag out for Lee Teasdale, number 78. Polanski and Burns also taking it.
Yeah, for sure. That was 72 Douglas Shearer that he just went past there, and Polanski and Des Burns are going to be the next man up against them. And if Polanski gets held up here, that might play in the hands of Des Burns to get past Polanski on this final lap. So these slow riders can be in a critical place there on this last lap.
It certainly could, yeah. It's all about this last lap because it's this man's away at the front, but Polanski, if he's not got past him, Burns is going to be all over the back of them. And Dangerous Des does not need an invitation, does he? He will be through in a heartbeat as a little bit of rain sprinkles onto the John Arweir camera there as we come through Clark Corner, but it's just behind Lee Teasdale, who we need to see. We need to keep on this camera view as they come through Clark, but we follow Teasdale round towards the hairpin, and it's all about Lee Teasdale. And look at the back of the screen, you can see Des Burns was right under Polanski then.
Yeah, this is going to be a last do or die move at the hairpin, I think, for Des Burns, because he hasn't got the straight line speed to drive up from the hairpin to the start finish line to keep in front of Polanski. And it looks like he's just got his nose in front there. Des Burns gets up the inside of Polanski. Is he going to get second to the line as Teasdale wins? He does indeed. Des Burns gets second place there. An absolutely fantastic manoeuvre on the last lap, and I think that's just rewards for his mishaps earlier on in the day.
Absolutely. Lee Teasdale is the winner as Chris Clements comes over the line there behind Patrick Foreman. But Lee Teasdale is your winner, and he's a happy bunny with that as we go back on board with Des Burns, who got a good second place, well deserved, hard fought second place for Des Burns there. And Matthew Polanski will feel like he's been absolutely robbed with that one as the guys line up for a little bit of post-race interviews with Joe Tanner and get themselves into the winner's enclosure here at Parc Fermé. So the pre-injected 600s in association with Cooper Motorcycles sees Lee Teasdale, Des Burns and Matt Polanski are top three, with Patrick Foreman, Chris Clements, Alan Rainey and Paul Bowerbank in 7th.
third place in the pre-injection 600, Matthew. That could have been a win at the start. It was a mega start, and then second looked safe, and then the back markers.
Yeah, the back markers. Oh, never mind. You know, it was a good race all the same. I thought, you know, well, at least I got in front of Lee for a couple of laps. You know,
considering what happened on the warm-up lap as well before they stopped the race and restarted it, you actually fell off the bike, so maybe not too bad at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can't grumble a third after coming off in the second lap. So yeah, that's fine.
Lee, I spoke to you before the start. You did exactly what you said you were going to do. Another win to follow up what you did yesterday. Perfect.
Yeah, it was a good race. Bit tricky with the wet tyres on the dry, but it was alright, it wasn't too bad.
I was watching the front row at the start. It wasn't the best getaway and you lost the lead, but you sort of played it cool and just waited for the tyres and everything to come up to temperature before you made that move.
Yeah, I had a bad start, so couple of laps into it was...
Are they putting you off?
Yeah, couple of laps, got settled in, then made a move on Matt, so and then just got my head down, just try to keep it lit.
Well, that's it. That's all we have time for from the club classes from the first round of the 2013 season from Knockhill Racing Circuit. We really enjoyed the racing, some great close action. Please do tune in next time.